forums and arenas remind us of great accomplishments in the rights of citizens within the state and of violence against the others, those who spoke different languages or believed in a different God. I was born and raised in the city of Rome. I was born and raised in the city of Rome. I thought about the book every time I went by the Basilica di San Pietro. I thought about a Roman emperor when I circled around the Colosseum. I thought of Italian movies and Federico Fellini's movies.
I think so, right?
The famous Via Veneto on the way to my high school. The producer of two of the most renowned, the most creative of Italian directors, Federico Fellini. Two of those movies, La Strada and Anthony Quinn, The Nights of Siberia, with his wife Giulietta Massina, were produced by Giada De Laurentiis, who was a major figure in Italian film that later became a major figure in American film. His first wife was a beautiful and talented actress, Silvana Mangana. I had a glance of that beauty when I had the pleasure of meeting a keynote speaker today. She has that illustrious family background. She has high standards to live up to, and she has done it in her own way, becoming a world-renowned expert on Italian cuisine, a television celebrity, and an original, successful business person. I am very happy that our first ever keynote speaker in Anthropology is one of our own, the smart, beautiful, successful, delightful, charming, energetic, and creative 1996 UCLA Anthropology graduate, Giada De Laurentiis.
I think you missed your calling. You should have been a stand-up comedian.
I would.
Oh boy. I just said to Professor Durante that I think he missed his calling. I think he should have been a stand-up comedian. He has us all laughing over here. Thank you very much, Sandro. And thank you to the faculty for having me. And you know, it's so nice to see all of you guys. I was one of you 13 years ago. I know. But we had a much smaller department. I think there were only 80 of us. Right? Anyway, hello to all the proud parents and all the family and friends, and of course, hello to all of you guys. My fellow UCLA graduates. I'm very honored to be here tonight. I've never done this before, so bear with me. I was told I have like 8 minutes, so let's see if I can get it all out in 8 minutes, okay? I confess that I've been thinking a lot about what I would say tonight, and I've been asking myself over and over again, what are the things that I wanted to know, or what did I wish someone had told me when I was graduating? Maybe what are the ingredients to a successful and happy life, because that in the end is what we're all looking for. And maybe more pressing, where do I get a job? Because that's what I was thinking. And you know, I don't have all the answers, but I do have a few insights. So I would like to say that yes, I did graduate 13 years ago from UCLA with a degree in social anthropology. Thank you. And so I know where you guys are coming from, and I kind of have an idea of what your college experience was like. And I also know that this university has definitely given you the tools to go into the real world and to make a success out of yourselves. And I'd say that's a pretty good head start, whether or not you work in the field of anthropology or you end up doing something else like I did. After my graduation 13 years ago, I took a kind of unusual step, and I went to culinary school in Paris. And it seemed kind of odd to my parents, after 4 years of college, that I would go to yet another college and not actually get a job. And my parents were wondering what I was thinking. But the truth is that I had a passion for food, and I always did. It started at a very, very early age. I was born in Rome, the city that I love, and I come from a very large Italian family. And my grandfather, Giada De Laurentiis, moved us the entire family that is, to the United States when I was 8 years old. And as a young girl new to the States, I was painfully shy, believe it or not, and I struggled to learn English, which was my second language, and in turn flunked the first grade. And as the eldest of 4 children, my expectations were pretty high, and what my parents expected of me was pretty high. And in my family, I was the first to go to college and the first to actually get a degree. Thank you. And I know there's many of you out there who are it's the same thing. So it's, you know, it's a pretty big deal. And, you know, I kind of carried the promise of the American dream on my shoulders, and it was a very heavy responsibility. I wanted to please my family, but secretly I also wanted to blaze my own trail. And, you know, almost everyone in my family went into the movie business. So, you know, I felt a lot of pressure to follow suit. And at the very least, I think my parents hoped I would become a doctor or a lawyer, because at least it was a tangible job that they realized, that they thought, well, okay, she can afford to take care of herself now. But I wanted a career in food, and I wasn't exactly sure what that meant. But I knew I loved hanging out in the kitchen with my family, cooking with my family, and laughing and telling stories, and I loved the smell of the food, and I loved eating. So I just knew that's where I wanted to be. It's the place where I think I felt like myself, and I knew I could be myself there. But the problem was I had no idea how I was going to translate this into a job and into a career. But I knew I had to do it, and that was enough for me. So I took a leap of faith, I jumped off the cliff without a parachute, I crossed my fingers, and I hoped for a soft landing. And believe me, just like all of you, you want your family and everybody to, you know, to really be proud of your accomplishments. And I didn't want them to think that my education was a big waste of time or money. But I really did want to do something else. And somehow, I believed I had the ability to make that happen. And after all, there are dozens of ways to construct a recipe, just as there are infinite ways and infinite choices that we can make in life. You can create your own recipe from scratch, or you can follow the directions on the box. It's up to you. I knew I could figure it out, and I know that all of you can figure it out as well. And tonight your journey begins, and that is the exciting part. You'll discover your own lessons in life just as I've discovered mine. And here are a few of the things I'd like to share with you guys. And there's only 5, so don't worry, we'll get through it pretty quickly, so you can all get your diplomas. All right, number 1, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. I learned this one when I attended culinary school in Paris. It was a very, very tough environment, and the instructors were brutal. It was nothing like going to school here. And they treated us very, very harshly if we weren't prepared for class. And everything was in French, and of course, I did not speak French, so it was even more difficult. I think it was all part of an initiation. It was tough love. They tore you down, and then they kind of built you back up again. It required a thick skin, and many students didn't make it, and they dropped out. You guys okay back there? Plus, the voice of my grandfather kind of kept going in my head. You know, when I told my family that I wanted to go into food, my grandfather kept saying to me, you know, it's a man's world. It's not a place for women. How are you ever going to become successful? And a lot of it had to do with, he felt like, you know, I represented him. You know, we all represent our parents, and all of their hard work is, you know, basically comes out to us. So he wanted me to make him proud, and he wasn't sure that this was going to happen. So the lesson is, if you love something, stick to it and be strong. Number 2, stir the pot. When I started my first show, Everyday Italian, I was criticized a lot for trying to make Italian food accessible. You know, my family really felt that you should teach people how to make everything from scratch. They did it that way. My grandfather's family did it that way. But I kind of had a different plan. I felt like not everybody has the time to make everything from scratch, so why don't we make it easy and make some really simple, accessible recipes? And also, I felt like I didn't want to dress in my, white chef's coat, and I didn't want to talk the chefy talk, and I didn't want to make complicated dishes. I wanted it to be my own. And, the problem is my looks didn't help the situation. You've all heard, you never trust a skinny chef. And so that didn't help either. But I wanted something a little bit different, and I wanted to share my Italian roots, and I wanted everybody to enjoy it. Enjoy making Italian food at home in a way that I don't think anybody else was actually able to do before me. So I wanted to kind of demystify Italian food and make it something that everyone could prepare at home. So I put my chef's jacket back in the closet, and I created easy recipes. And I'm glad that I did, because had I not done it my way, I may not have been here the way that I am today. Number 3, every now and then, a souffle will fall. You may be prepared, you may really try really, really hard, and you may have the best of intentions, but sometimes you will fail. And until, you really won't know success until you accept the fact that you could fail. When I did Everyday Italian for the first time, it was a pretty rough show. And I was awkward and uncomfortable in front of the camera. And I had tons and tons of anxiety that basically manifested itself into a major stomachache all the time with a nasty case of insomnia. It was very humbling for me. But instead of burying my head, which, by the way, I totally wanted to do, I tried very hard to be honest with myself and see what my shortcomings were. And that's when my brother Dino, my little brother Dino, helped me out. He followed me around with a camera. He just kind of followed me everywhere that I went. He was there all the time. I talked to him, and he talked to me. And suddenly the camera kind of became a real person and a real friend. And at the end of every day, my brother and I would sit down and kind of review my performance, which was pretty nerve-wracking. But slowly and surely, I became better. And what started as what began as a rough start ended up, in my opinion, becoming more successful. So the moral of the story is, be courageous and never give up. Number 4, remember to sometimes eat dessert first. I love dessert, I love chocolate, and I love sugar. Don't suffer through a multi-course meal, you guys, when dessert is within reach. Yeah, I'm glad somebody else agrees with me. Somebody's not sleeping. Don't wait until you're full to sample the pleasures in life. Break the rules, be joyful. Enjoy your family and your friends, you guys, because they are, in the end, the most important thing in life. And finally, number 5, trust your gut. I live by this motto, and your gut is like your compass. It will always direct you the right way. Congratulations and good luck, you guys.